Hey everybody, and welcome to the Lands Beyond Angkor. My name is Marcel, and today I will tell you a little bit more about anything else there is to do in Cambodia, but not Siem Reap. For the ones who tuned into my webinar about 2 weeks ago, you can totally find it back. If you have heard it already, then you're fully up to date on what's happened in Siem Reap and Angkor Wat. If you haven't heard it yet, no worries. At the end of this webinar, I have a slide which gives you the link to all of the previous webinars we have done on Cambodia to make you professional experts to start selling the country. So today we'll discuss, as any good itinerary does, we have a bit of an intro, we arrive in the capital, travel through the country, and we finish on the beach. So the purpose of this webinar, really, I wanted to talk a little bit more about Cambodia because Cambodia is such a popular destination for so many travelers. But 80% of the people never get further than Siem Reap, Angkor Wat. They see the temples, they check it off their list, and that's it. And over the past few years in Cambodia, I think there has been such an amazing development throughout the country. So everywhere in different corners of the country, we have quality lodging, beautiful resorts, we have some stunning islands as you can see on the picture here. So I think Cambodia really puts itself on the map as a full destination holiday. And most of the people, most of the agents and our customers, they're not really fully aware of this yet. And that's all right. That's why we do webinars like these, to really bring people up to date and really show you different parts of the country that you maybe have never heard of, or that you heard of, but just not really feel confident in promoting yet. And like I said, just over the years, these kind of resorts they're building, kind of hotels they're opening up in different places. And I think we just have this very nice mix between classic hotel, modern resorts. We have lodgings like the old Khmer style, farm style lodging. I will show you later on this webinar. But we also have the old colonial buildings and just 6-star top-notch quality resorts to stay in. So basically, who should visit, I add to this. And I think it's just an amazing family destination. It's a luxury destination. And it's a real couple destination. So I would think Cambodia nowadays is really for everyone. It is not anymore as we go to the temples and maybe we visit Phnom Penh to learn about the Khmer Rouge, which I think is still a very important part of history that you need to learn about, that you need to see. But also, you need to know about, sorry if the screen went off, but also there is a lot more to discover here in the country itself. And that's what I want to talk to you about today. But first things first, carbon offsetting. You might have heard about it, you might have seen this picture, and you might be already doing it from yourself, from your own company. But this is something we are doing nowadays for all of our partners, for all of our trips, as a standard inclusion, because we think this is super important to do. You can't go carbon free because that means you would need to stay at home and live in your own farm, which in all honesty would be pretty cool. But when you want to travel the world, you want to explore the world, but at least feel good about it and do your part in making at least sure that you are traveling carbon neutral, we offer this possibility. So just $1.50 a day, we had a whole team of environmental experts just calculating and how to do the carbon offsetting for all of your traveling. And we calculated that $1.50 a day, it goes through our EXO Foundation and it's fully invested in reforestation, local empowerment, mangrove rehabilitation, and all the other ones that you can see on here. And again, we get back to this a little bit later as well because we have some really cool mangrove planting initiative, which is an amazing family activity, to be honest. So we just try to intertwine these two, sustainability and to do so while you do it on your trip. As I mentioned, we do it through the EXO Foundation, and the EXO Foundation is just something I myself personally align with a lot. we aim to make destinations better places for people to live in and for travelers to visit. And that's the ultimate goal, right? Because we want people to have the best experience possible. We want them to come to Cambodia or any of our destinations and have an amazing time. And if we want to ensure that, we need to make sure that we look after the local people, the local communities, and the nature as well. And we support all of that through our foundation. Also on our website, you can see the responsible travel rating system. Really cool feature. If you go to any of our trip on our website, you can see exactly what this trip is doing. So we have different categories. It's carbon friendly, cultural interaction, social impact, if it benefits the locals, and if it really makes a difference. So please have a look on our website, try to find the different symbols, and if you have any questions, just feel free to reach out to us anytime. So now we're going to the Kingdom of Wonder. But first things first, when are we going there? You see the standard seasonality. We have November to March, which is the high season. After that, April, May, it gets hot, and then you get into the low season, the rainy season really. And just different times of the year. I would say, and I wrote it here as a contrarian view, the low season is actually way better to travel. Prices are a lot cheaper, nature is a lot more green and vibrant, and there are not so many people around. And you will see later on the following slide here, the rain is actually not that bad. In February, which is one of the peaks in high season, there is just as much rain as May and June, but prices will be 20 to 30% cheaper sometimes of accommodation. Even when you look at September, for example, the wettest month of the year, it rains only 15 days of the month. At the moment, while we're doing this webinar, we're at the end of August, and sure we have rain. And I would say, as per the graph, maybe 13, 14 days. A bit less, but yes, it's there, but it's never the full day. It's never just downpouring the whole day or days in a row. It is mostly end of the afternoon, early morning, nighttime, or sometimes during the day, but almost never longer than 1 hour. So we start off with a bit of topography here. As you can see, right in the middle of the map and a little bit down, you see Phnom Penh, right above Kandal. So that's the capital, that's where I am based, that's where we have our head office. And if you look to the northwest, you'll see the big province of Siem Reap. That's where Angkor Wat is, that's where we have our second office. And then all around, you have the different provinces in the country. Each of them have their own unique features. But the ones that we're traveling today is northwest to Battambang. We travel all the way to the east of Krache, Mondulkiri, Ratanakiri, and then we go to the seaside, Kampot and Cap, before we finish on Kokong and the islands in Sihanoukville. So this is the overall map on Cambodia. What is the nice thing on the map on Cambodia is that it's actually very drivable. So from Phnom Penh to the south of Kampot, for example, it's only 2.5 hours, 2.5 to 3. At the moment, they're building a new tollway to Sihanoukville, which will cut the driving time from approximately 4 hours to 2 hours. If you drive Phnom Penh to Krache, 3 hours. Mondulkiri, 4.5 hours. So most of the drives here in Cambodia, they're almost never really longer than, let's say, 5 to 6 hours. Phnom Penh to Siem Reap, for example, that's a good 5.5 hour journey. So to cover a little bit on Phnom Penh, and I think it's such an amazing city because it's really up and coming in many different ways. And when normal people, when most of the people, when we talk about Phnom Penh, the first thing that get mentioned, of course, are the killing fields and Tolslang S21 Museum. And because they are so well known, they're such an important part of history, but I left them out of the presentation today because I really want this to be about what else is there to do. Because from my experience, when people visit such a tragic time in history, and you spend such a limited amount of time in a city like Phnom Penh, you end up leaving Phnom Penh just feeling a little bit sad. Whereas actually Phnom Penh is a really cool city. The people are super friendly, super nice, and there are lots of other different activities to do. So before we go, we start with a few of the hotels. So Hyatt Regency in Phnom Penh, it's one of the newest hotels. It's very close to the Royal Palace and it's brand new. And what they did really well, they built this, they took over and renovated this old colonial style villa. And behind this, they built the huge building, which is the Hyatt Regency, exactly as the standard as you would have expected of any Hyatt Regency. But when you arrive, you only see this colonial building because it's such a stunning building. It's the only thing that your eyes are focused on. And that's also the lobby. So once you check in, you go further down through the restaurant and then you get into the main building where the rooms are located. Palace Gate Hotel and Resort, it's one of our long-standing favorites because of the amazing location, the huge pool, and the nice sky bar they have on top. Also, for many of the rooms at the Palace Gate Resort, you will have views of the river or the palace. Penh House, really cool 3-star plus. Again, you see this pool, what they have. What I think is nice about Phnom Penh as a city is there are lots of tall buildings, sure, but it's not fully built up yet. So there is quite a lot of space. So I think what many hotels do really well is to place the swimming pools on the rooftop on such a nice place that you always have these stunning views. For the rest, it's a small kind of boutique-like hotel with nice rooms. They have a nice sky bar over there and all the other facilities that you can think of. Baitong Hotel and Resort is a little bit further out of town, and when I say further, it's 1 kilometer further. It's not that far. And Baitong Hotel and Resort is actually a cool place. They added a lot of green and trees and things to the place. And they have about 109 rooms, but 3 swimming pools, which makes it really nice and it gives a real private atmosphere. So here we go. Some of the activities that we would like to share. And one of the latest additions to Phnom Penh is the Sasarol Museum. And it opened right before the pandemic, had to close down, open up again. And it is here, it is brand new, and it is a museum about monetary policy, all the currencies from the history of time. So you can find the first coins they found from the time of Phnom, which is the Christian year 0, around this time. So there is over 2,000 years of currencies just put up in chronological order, and you just learn about the history of time of Cambodia, of the Khmer Kingdom, what it was before, and Cambodia, what it is now. And it is such an interesting journey because again, by the time that people come here, they have learned about the temples, Angkor Wat. They have learned about the Khmer Rouge. And then when you hear the monetary policies and the stories of all the currencies, the banknotes, just alongside, it gives a very different context. It adds a lot more perspective to the history of this country. And I think it's a real cool experience. Nightlife by Reborn. This is something we really recommend to do after you've been to the Killing Fields or the S21 Museum. And the main reason is this is just a fun tour. We bring you out and we go around some local food stalls, local market. We try different snacks. We add in some local craft beer. Cambodia, the craft beer scene is quite large. So it's really nice to go to a few different cafes and try a few local craft beers, some local snacks, and just also visit the palace around in the dark. when it's just beautifully light up. So it's a real fun tour. It's just nice to be outside, and the guide will show you around, and you go in this local remorque, which is like a local tuk-tuk really, a motorbike with like almost a horse carriage on the back. So plush pillows, very comfortable, and you just cruise around the city in the dark. Pudong Mountain, it's the former capital of the Khmer Kingdom, and it's just a very nice half day away from the city. It's about 1.5 hour drive, and in the middle of nowhere they have a little village, and then they have this beautiful mountain with a beautiful temple on top of it. It's really worth it to just spend half a day and just explore the local countryside. So we're leaving Phnom Penh now, and we're heading, like I mentioned, all the way to the northwest to the village of Battambang. And Battambang used to be this old French colonial town, and they still have preserved a lot of this heritage, which makes it really nice to just have a walk around. So some of the hotels that we're having here are Maison Angkor, which is a really nice 4-star property. And as I mentioned before, as soon as you come into this countryside, you can find these local accommodation, local lodgings, really nicely done, that just really fit in well with the local ambiance. Bambu Battambang Hotel, also a very good property. As you can see, a little bit more modern, you'd almost say, but still they preserve the Cambodian style very well. Classy Hotel and Spa. This is just the perfect option if you have groups, bigger group numbers, or you have people traveling on a budget. We can always use this one as well. Some of the activities we do, and this is, I think, one of the nicest activities we have because it's the bicycle tour. You don't need to be an expert bike rider for this. It can be very comfortable through the countryside. So every tour starts with a little video about the history of Battambang. And you learn a little bit more about the places you will see, how the town looks like, how it did look like many years ago. And as you cycle around, you will see many of the local handicrafts. So you will see the lady here who's making the nets. You will for example, see the local coconut farmers, palm oils, and lots of different things. The bamboo train, probably the most well-known activity to do in Battambang, and it's a really fun activity. So the train lines, the train tracks are not used very often. At the moment, there's only one train a day, and the rest of the day, the locals use it as their way of transport to just go between the local villages. And as I mentioned, one of the things to do is the colonial architecture of Battambang town. So together with our expert guides, we can take you guests around town, just walking around and learning about the different architecture and the different buildings they have. Moving over to Krache, and Krache really came up as this nice, well, I want to say developed, not really developed. It's a really laid back little town where you can still stay very nicely along the riverside, very peaceful and just perfect. If you have 5-6 days of busy traveling, this is the kind of place where you want to go and just relax for a day. So Relais de Shlom is one of our 4-star properties here. And as I mentioned, you have this beautiful colonial style property, which is just right there. Has a nice pool to relax in if you do want to relax for a day. And another one will be the Suriaburi villas. And this is where you come, what I say is the pure classical Khmer style farmhouses, countryside houses. Beautifully done, really nice place to stay. And again, it really ties in with the local ambiance. So we have some local cycling tours just to explore the countryside, seeing the farmers work, and maybe you can try as a hands-on activity to help the farmers out. You can go and see the Mekong dolphins, go on a little trip like this. And around the rivers, you can also just go on a paddle board and paddle down the river by yourself. which is really relaxing. Now we go all the way to the top, Ratanakiri, and Ratanakiri and Mondulkiri are really places you want to go for some more adventure style. There is a lot of trekking, a lot of hiking, a lot of exploring to do, which makes it perfect. If you like nature, mountains and adventure, this is where you want to go. So some of the places that we're working with there are Terre Rouge Lodge, which is this really cool local place with beautiful views from the restaurant. We have the Green Plateau Lodge, which is a bit more in the countryside. And again, it's just this local style house, which is really nice. We can do some village visits in the area and visit the famous lake, which is stunning. In Mondulkiri, we can visit places like Mayura Hill as a resort, which is this beautiful place, great service, and really nice, again, to just spend a day or a couple of hours. A little bit more rustic, we have the Nature Lodge, which is small local bungalows they can rent out. And the most well-known activity here is the Mondulkiri Elephant Valley project. This is probably the biggest and most sustainable enterprise regarding elephants here. We send a lot of our customers here. They have been very thoroughly checked, vetted to make sure that they treat the animals well, and they're doing an amazing job in the conservation of elephants. You can visit the local waterfalls around there, which are beautiful, breathtaking. And now we go to Koh Kong. And Koh Kong, you have a few additions to this, which are, well, I'd say hip and trendy, but again, really build the experience to go outside of the normal tourism routes, the normal travel routes, but also to really go a little bit more in nature and just get away from all the busy hotels. And one place to do it is Shinta Wild, which is just a stunning place to be. High-end, top-notch, superb quality and service. They do a lot about sustainability. They have their own in-house experts that can teach you all. They can bring you on nature walks, and they will tell you all about conservation of nature and what kind of wildlife and animals they have. So if your customers or yourself are looking for a top-notch experience in the middle of the jungle, this is it. Cardamom Tent Camp, another cool place, and I would say they are the pioneers of sustainability in this area, in the Cardamom Mountains. They do a lot of expeditions, trekkings, and a lot of their time is spent on the preservation of nature. It's a stunning area. As you can see in the middle picture, there is lots of cool kayaking to do and nature hikes, and you learn everything about wildlife there. Canvas and Orchids, it's a floating resort, as you can see. And again, just an addition which is getting a little bit more popular nowadays for travelers. And we have it here in Cambodia. Again, not many people know about it. And I really would like to see people coming to places like this, like these camps, like really get one with nature really, and just spend a few days exploring, doing a few outday activities, but doing so in style. Moving down to the seaside, we have Kampot and Chatt. And for such a small places around there, you would say there is a lot to do. And as you can see here on the list already, there are lots of different activities because the French people came here a long time ago and they built some stunning old classic buildings. You have the famous Kampot pepper, of course, and you have lots of outdoor activities to do, and you have a lot to do in ecotourism. Kampot is the latest addition to the hotel scene, and they are by far the top hotel in Kampot. They are a proper 5-star resort, beautiful villas, top service, and again, it's a real 5-star place. If you want to travel in style, this is the place you go. When you move down to Chatt, you have Knai Chatt Resort. And Knai Chatt has a beautiful historical value and a beautiful story. So they have 3 buildings basically, and one of the buildings used to be from the old governor, and it's really nice because Chatt in the 50s and 60s, the economy there was doing really well, and it was very popular for the wealthy Cambodians to come to the seaside and build their villas there. So Knai Chatt got 3 of those villas, renovated them, and now they're renting the rooms out for people to stay in. Pipali Boutique, beautiful, nice place. It's a bit smaller and it's a nice 3-star option with a relaxing pool and just in the heart of Kampot. Taste the Kampot pepper. So this tour is really nice because you get to taste the Kampot pepper. You get to learn about the whole process, the whole procedure, about how they grow pepper, how they do it, how they work with it. And it's just very fun to do, really nice to bring the kids along as well. And Bokor National Park is the national park not too far from Kampot. And as you can see on the left-hand side, you see this beautiful classic church that the French built many years ago. And just everywhere along the mountain, you have some kind of these classic buildings from the old town, which just makes it really cool. And because you go up high up the mountains, it's a nice place to escape the heat as well. You can also explore the salt fields in Kampot. So aside from the world famous pepper, they also have the salt, and they all do it right there. So we can bring you there together with the guide, and they can explain the whole process about making salt. Phnom Kampong and the cave. So this place, you can do lots of cool hiking around. It's about 20-minute drive from Kep, and because when you're outside, you just see this beautiful mountain full of trees. So you can do some light hiking in the area, and then come into the cave where they have this crystal clear water, which is just stunning and perfect to just take a dip and cool down. So one of the ecotourism places that I mentioned to you before, this is some things we do when we're talking about we're giving back, we're making sure we travel carbon neutral. So you can go to a place like this and actually plant the trees. So again, perfect activity for kids. We do a little boat ride in the area. You learn all about the different mangroves, the different sounds, the animals, and the preservation of mangrove forest in general, which is, I think, just a really cool tour to do. And I really love mangroves myself. They're really nice to walk around, and you always see such an abundance of wildlife there. So going down to the islands, the first one we start off with is probably the most high-end resort in Cambodia, and it's Songsa Private Island Resort. Beautiful property, as it says, on a private island, and you would say it's almost Maldivian, how it looks like, right? And it's just the way they build it. So properties like this, we often combine it with Shinta Wild, which I showed you earlier in the middle of the jungle, or Canvas and Orchids, the floating resort. These properties are just really good to combine together when people are staying in Phnom Penh. It's only a 2-hour drive to get to Shinta Wild, and then it's another 2.5 to 3-hour drive to get to Songsa Private Island. So it's always a good combination to make together. Royal Sands Koh Rong, another really cool resort. Huge piece of land and very well set up, very spacious. You feel very private, and it's right on the beach. Tamu Koh Rong, a little bit more in the tent glamping style idea, but again, you still do it in style. You have a beautiful, stunning pool. You're right on the beach with comfortable chairs, and it's the right place for some days of relaxing after a week or two of hard traveling. So Koh Rong Sanloon, we have La Passion Resort, which is probably the latest addition on the islands, which is a really nice 4-star resort, has a good pool. I've heard, I haven't been, I've heard that they have a really good F&B as well. So the food in the restaurant must be amazing. We have Eden Beach Resort. As you can see again, it's a bit smaller rooms. It's the bungalows you see over there, but it's a really cool place to hang out. Again, also for when you have kids. You have Russey, where they have Russey villas and resort. Stunning property, really nice, really well done, very artistic main, and just a cool place to hang out, ideal for couples. And Jati Resort. So honestly, Jati Resort, as you can see on the pictures, it's not open yet, it's not finished yet, but the reason why I want to use it is because they will be the new kid on the block. They are going to have around 80 bungalows, and their plan is to be fully in line with families. So it's going to be the first full, well, they say, first full friendly family resort on the islands, and prices from what I've seen are looking to be very competitive in the market. So this will be a great addition to have on the beach. So this was it already. I went through it quite quickly. I know everyone's busy. I don't want to take too much of your time. But most importantly, what I really wanted to share is some new things what we have to do in Cambodia. Not everything is brand new, just open up. But many activities, many of the hotels I showed you, they're quite new or they are quite unknown. And I deserve that a country like Cambodia, as you can see the diversity and the variety that we have, it deserves a lot more time for travelers to spend and go around to really explore and get to know the destination. And I hope we may welcome you soon too. So my name is Marcel. As I mentioned on the very first slide, all the other webinars, you can find it on our YouTube channel. You can have a look at our product. You can have a look at our responsible travel page. And if you have any questions, you can always reach out to me or the team, and we will just get back to you as soon as we can. Thank you very much.